Early this year, I reviewed the Rebor Deinosuchus. I was pretty happy with it. The obvious companion to complement that would be a Sarcosuchus, the other popular monster croc. And Rebor has delivered it. Like Deinosuchus, Sarcosuchus is well known in popular culture. And thanks to Nigel Marven again, this visual has always been etched into my mind. The name Sarcosuchus is often translated as flesh crocodile. The Greek sarx, which means flesh, and again suchos, the Greek name for Sobek, the Egyptian crocodile deity. Now this is Rebor's Lica. If you recall, the name they gave Deinosuchus was Meta. Now put them together and Rebor's penchant for metal music and humor is clear. Like Meta, this comes in two versions. There's the lake and the river. However, I only got the river, because while I actually preferred the lake, the darkness is too similar to the Deinosuchus estuary, and I am running out of money to get both, not to mention space. And looking at the size of this whopper, I'm glad I did. This model measures about 45 centimeters or 17.7 inches, so slightly longer than the Deinosuchus. Sarcosuchus itself is generally considered to be shorter than Deinosuchus, around 9 meters or 30 feet, which would make this 1 to 20th scale. An earlier estimate by Sereno et al. Achieved 11.65 meters or 38.2 feet, which is longer than Deinosuchus. Now that estimate gives us roughly 1 to 26 scale. So, at around 1 to 20th scale, here's the 1 to 20th scale, one the artistic model's humanoid. And for the 1 to 26, here's the 1 to 25 humanoid. The color on this is very vibrant. I actually didn't like this at first because of all the spots. If I had a choice, I would have wanted something a lot less gaudy, but paler in color to the Deinosuchus. Still, when I realized that Tomistoma does have a similar scheme, then the spotting is actually very realistic. So let's take a closer look at the head. Detail-wise, there's no faulting Rebor as always, just look at that scalation. The color and pattern has really started to grow on me. You see just in this snout area how nicely it blends. These spots too, they don't look as stark as I thought they would. Now one thing you'll see not just in the head, but also the body is this very shiny sheen, giving it a very wet look. On one hand, I like the glistening appearance as you imagine it being in or very near water, but on the other, it does make it very hard to appreciate the detail from some angles. The eyes are very carefully painted. The orange complements the rest of the color wonderfully, and if the camera can focus here, look at how carefully painted that vertical slit of the pupil is. There's a very lifelike wetness in the eyes that gives it a really living gleam. The jaw articulates, thereby happily allowing me to recreate those gape focus media you've seen. The upper jaws were longer than the lower, creating a very characteristic overbite, and this is recreated here quite well. Disturbingly, the snout is actually very bendy compared to the Deinosuchus, so I hope this holds up to repeated opening and closing. As for the teeth, in the previous Deinosuchus, I thought that the stark whiteness made them too pristine and looked almost like an unpainted mold. Fortunately here, that's been rectified. There's a yellowing that makes it look more natural here. I should say in general that Rebor excels in doing teeth with lifelike enamel, and I like to see that quality continued. In terms of tooth count, Sarcosuchus had 5 premaxillary teeth, and that's correct here. There were 30 maxillary teeth with the 10th enlarged. In this model, it's the 8th that's enlarged, and there are 27 maxillary teeth. In the lower jaw, there were 31 dentary teeth per side, with the 3rd and 4th enlarged. And here you see that the 4th is indeed enlarged. Now I count 32 or 33. I keep missing a count here and there. As for the palate, you won't be surprised to see the same detail we saw in the Deinosuchus. And here's the tongue. In the body, the eye is of course immediately drawn to that crocodilian armor. In the case of Sarcosuchus, Sereno et al. 2001 mentioned regional variability of the scutes. Here's a mid-cervical scute, a trunk scute, and a caudal scute. You can see that this is rather flat, quadrilateral and uniplanar, unlike the Daleks of the Deinosuchus. And here, happily, Rebor has done that. Filling in the rest of the armor in a sensible way. And this is where I welcome crocodilian experts who chime in with your thoughts. So just a once over of the body. Dorsally, and the sides, can really see Rebor going to play here, sculpting these textures the way it's done so well over so many models. And the forelimbs, I really like how the scutes here are arranged to create some serrations almost, giving it a rather Batman badass look. Like the Deinosuchus, digits 4 and 5 are again clawed, so this may raise an eyebrow or two. This may be something you want to cut off or paint over. While it's commonly held that archosaurs were clawed in only digits 1 to 3, there's evidence of exceptions. Some pseudosuchians may have had 5 manual unguals. Also, many earlier crocodilians don't have a complete manus preserved. But otherwise the detail is just beautiful to look at again. Just look here on the palmar surface and the medial aspect of the arm. On the hind limbs. And here the lateral border of the foot presents also that serration. And again, that detail on the plantar surface. And also the underside, from the neck down to the tail. And like the Deinosuchus, it comes separately. But again, because of the segmented nature of the integument, the seam is easily unseen. Unfortunately, there's a discontinuity in the spots, as you see here when I align these. On the other side, they don't match. And likewise, by rotating these to fit, you see on the other side, they get misaligned. Now, so much for the Sarcosuchus itself. The accessory remains this time is that of a baby Nigersaurus, a contemporary sauropod. Like the Deinosuchus with the Appalachiosaurus, I suspect this will be of as great an interest. And unlike the Appalachiosaurus, we get a full body this time. And I wish it wasn't quite so shiny, but well, it is. And as we look at just the remains, we can't help but wish that Rebor would one day do a fuller adult version of this. Now, the comparisons. For comparisons, first let's have a look at the wild safari Sarcosuchus. When I first saw this, I was surprised with the head and snout proportions, but overall it's really a rather nice model. Of course, given size and price, the detail and paint are going to be much better on the Rebor, but I think in its own class it stands very well. Then we must of course have my Rebor Swamp Deinosuchus. As you can see, having different colours results in a nice contrast, and they will really stand apart. The Rebor Sarcosuchus is longer, which seems to indicate that Rebor follow more the older Sereno size estimates if they based it on any study at all. But the Deinosuchus is more robust. Both are impressively detailed, but there are definite differences for you to know they're indeed very different animals. Contemporaneous animal would be the wild safari Nigersaurus. It's about 1:36 scale, so sadly again out of scale with our Sarcosuchus today. We have the Halongku Uranosaurus, roughly 1:35, so also out of scale. And likewise, the PNSO 1:35 Suchomimus. Ironically, these three roughly go together, and our Sarcosuchus is really the odd one out, scale-wise. And finally, for a size comparison, here's Wilson, and Cameron. And Cameron. So that's it for the Rebor Sarcosuchus. I'm really pleased to finally have a nice one, especially to pair with my Rebor Deinosuchus. The differences in the animals is clearly seen, and both are very well painted, beautifully sculpted, and generally conform to respectable skeletals, making them a worthy pair to place on any shelf. It's really been a nice journey since I started collecting Rebors, when they shifted towards more scientifically accurate models, and they have one project I'm definitely very much looking forward to. Let me know what you guys think. I'll see you guys in the next video.